Is it possible to gamble with a nation's future, to play a game of political chicken with the very idea of a country? When a prime minister openly dismisses a regional movement as a dangerous bluff, you know something significant is unfolding. Before we dive into the heart of this political wildfire, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, and by extension, its closest allies and global impacts, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and keeps these critical stories coming your way. Now, let's talk about Canada, and specifically, the province of Alberta. Prime Minister Mark Carney, a figure accustomed to the highest levels of international finance and now at the helm of Canadian politics, has taken a direct and unusually sharp swing at an upcoming vote that could profoundly alter the country's trajectory. He's not just disagreeing with the idea of Alberta independence, he's calling it a dangerous bluff. What does that mean? When leaders in a democracy talk about separating or seeking radical changes in autonomy, it's often framed in terms of empowerment. The narrative commonly spun is, vote for this and you get a free option. Or, vote for this and we will strengthen our hand in a future negotiation. It's a way to generate momentum, to rally a base, and to create leverage, all while maintaining a degree of plausible deniability or a fallback position. But Carney's strong language suggests he believes this is not a genuine option for self-determination, but rather a high-stakes theatrical maneuver designed to achieve something else entirely. The context here is crucial. Alberta, rich in oil and gas, has long felt its economic contributions to Canada are not fully appreciated or reciprocated by the federal government and other provinces. There's a persistent narrative of perceived federal overreach, of economic policies that disproportionately benefit Eastern Canada, and of a sense that Alberta's resource wealth is being exploited without adequate return. This sentiment has fueled various independence or greater autonomy movements over the years, and this upcoming vote is the latest iteration. However, Carney's assessment as a dangerous bluff implies a deeper, more calculated strategy at play, one that he believes carries significant risks for everyone involved. He's suggesting that those advocating for the vote aren't truly prepared for or even seeking secession. Instead, they might be using the threat of secession as a tool. A tool to extract concessions from the federal government, perhaps on resource policy, taxation, or jurisdictional powers. The danger, in Carney's view, lies in the unpredictable consequences of such a gambit. Think about it. When you bluff in poker, you're trying to win the pot without the best hand. But if your bluff is called, you lose everything. In national politics, the stakes are infinitely higher. A serious push for independence, even if initially intended as a bluff, can unleash forces that are impossible to control. It can create deep divisions within the province, alienate allies, and destabilize the entire nation. It can damage investor confidence, both domestically and internationally, as the future of the country becomes uncertain. Who is affected by this? Primarily, the citizens of Alberta, who are being asked to consider a path with unclear destinations and potentially irreversible consequences. They are being told by their leaders that this vote is significant, but by the Prime Minister, that it's a charade with dangerous undertones. The rest of Canada is also affected, as any significant move towards separatism, even a perceived one, raises questions about national unity and the future of confederation. And on a global stage, Canada is seen as a stable, predictable nation. A political crisis, even one born from a bluff, can erode that perception. What are the possible outcomes? If this is indeed a bluff, and Carney's words are meant to call it out and deflate it, the movement might lose momentum, and the vote could be perceived as a failure, leading to internal recriminations. However, if the underlying sentiment for greater autonomy is genuine and deep-seated, Carney's strong words might only serve to inflame passions and galvanize support for the very movement he's trying to discredit. It could backfire spectacularly, pushing more Albertans to believe that the federal government is actively trying to silence their legitimate grievances. This is where things get truly fascinating from a political strategy perspective. Is Carney trying to preemptively shut down a potentially destabilizing movement? Or is he, in his own way, calling out what he sees as irresponsible leadership within Alberta that is playing with fire for political gain? The narrative of a dangerous bluff is powerful because it frames the opposing side as not just misguided, but as reckless and manipulative. It seeks to undermine their credibility and their goals in one fell swoop. The core of the issue here is trust. Can Albertans trust their provincial leaders who are pushing this vote? Can they trust the Prime Minister's assessment of the situation? And ultimately, can they trust the integrity of the Canadian Federation itself? When national leaders engage in such sharp, public critiques, it signifies a deep level of concern about the stability and direction of the country. It suggests that the Prime Minister believes the current situation has escalated beyond mere regional discontent and has entered a zone of genuine national security risk, even if that risk is being manufactured through a political gambit. The phrase dangerous bluff is loaded. It implies not just deception, but a willingness to accept severe consequences if the bluff is called. It hints at a potential for widespread disruption, economic, social, and political, that could be far more damaging than any perceived gains. Carney's intervention is a clear signal that the federal government is not prepared to stand idly by and watch what it considers to be a dangerous game unfold. It's a direct challenge, a gauntlet thrown down, intended to expose the hollowness of the separatist argument and to warn those who would entertain it of the perilous path they are treading. So, what do you think about this? Is Prime Minister Carney right to call Alberta's independence vote a dangerous bluff, or is he misjudging the depth of sentiment for autonomy in the province? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. This is a developing story with significant implications, and we'll be keeping a close eye on every twist and turn. For now, the political stage is set for a high-stakes confrontation, and the word bluff has just become the most explosive term in the Canadian political lexicon.